Greetings, brothers and sisters. A lot of things to get to. Stuff with Will Smith that I've been waiting to get to for a while. And I want to start with some Britney Dance and then, the World War III stuff and all the other things. And there's an epic comment that needs to be addressed. And like I've been saying, I'm going to a every other day format here. I think because of the algorithms and other reasons, it's just sort of worked out that way. And I think it's what's best for both my channels. And so I post one video here, and the next day I post one Apocalypse Now. A lot of stuff building to get to there. That woman Julia Powell for my Hollywood celebrities dropping like flies. I'll get to that. More stuff on Kyrie and Nancy Pelosi's husband. I'll get to that on my other channel tomorrow. Something has shifted energetically in terms of our system, in terms of, collectively, there's changes that occur that affect all of us, right? Like there are things that can create fear in people, create hatred in people, create love in people, you can feel a shift, right? You might be worried about something, stressed out by something for a long time, and then there'll be a shift and it'll be over. Or like the whole COVID thing. There was a whole COVID psychosis, energetic, whatever was going on like an etheric level as we went through the whole COVID thing, and then it disappears, right? It was came out of nowhere, and there was COVID hysteria, and it manifested in the material world, but there was a way that people were dealing with it, and then it was over. I covered yesterday how the Atlantic wrote that we should just all forgive each other for the way we behaved during COVID, right? Because it was, and I was like, well, not all of us need forgiving, right? But things run their course, right? You have, seasons in your life, if you want to look at it like that, or, you have your youth, you have your adult youth, you have your, sort of your prime years, and then you're sort of on the back end of your life, and your physical health disappears to some extent. It comes and goes, and you're changing the way that you view the world, and you don't have as much energy or tolerance for, whatever's going on in the world. You just, as you get older and older, you're moving towards, you're returning to the etheric world, right? Your body's, you're entering a transitionary phase. And so we've transitioned into a new phase. And it's not just with the COVID and the economy and the war and the Trump stuff and all the things that are going on. I mean, the events that surround us, that it happens internally first. And, the manifestation of this change has left people with very little confidence in the system, the beastly system, and the United States for people, the United States government or the media. Like, people just don't believe in it anymore, right? There was a time where people believed America and Americans could do anything. It was just optimism and, nationalism and faith in the country, and we're number one and all these things. And people don't believe that anymore. I mean, maybe a few, very few people think it can be salvaged because that's the America they need to, in their internal world, they have to look at America like that. But overall, there's a general lack of confidence and faith, right? This is the apocalypse that I speak of a lot. And we're just going down various levels of like loss in terms of, loss of lifestyle, loss of faith, loss of, positive feelings about things. And more people are starting to feel like, oh, we can't fix this, or, we're doomed. Like it's moving in towards that type of a situation. And so a lot of the health effects that I've been talking about on both channels, and there's all these people saying, yeah, I've been suffering the same thing. There's a shift, right? Poor health is something that can, change people's perspective in the world. Like when you have kids get sick, oftentimes they would get sick and then they would develop a different level of consciousness, right? They would be more and more an adult, right? They're moving from their childhood years into being an adult, and there'll be changes, And often those changes would come with illnesses or, things that would happen with a kid, some sort of crisis. Crisis pulls out evolution, right? Crisis helps a person evolve. Stress helps a person, like a caterpillar coming out of its cocoon. It's a tough thing. It struggles its way out of the cocoon, and the struggle helps it to become a butterfly, right? So there's all these things that, struggles and difficulties and things, bring out more in you. And as you get older, they start killing you, right? They start taking away what's left of your life force. And so, we're entering into as Americans, no longer looking at the world through adolescent eyes, right? And the average American is supposed to have the maturity level of an eighth grader, something like that. And, America's a young country with a young perspective, and, we're aging quickly, right? We're now, becoming more adult in our perception, like we're going through the teenage years. And at some point, we're going to have to become like adults, right? Looking at the world through the eyes of an adult instead of an adolescent. But anyways, we still have Britney Spears. Let's go and take a look at that. Her dances here. So Britney posted, I think, 2 new dances, and maybe she deleted one. I didn't get to it in time. But there's this one here. Okay, she's coming in fast. Look at just immediate action, like immediately coming in fast. It's fall, so I have to take this week to reflect back on this year. A lot has happened. I posted this 8 months ago in Maui, but I showed the speed up version. Well, I looked through my phone and found the original one. Like it better. I'm both left and right-handed. She's ambidextrous. When I write, I'm right-handed, but in sports and dance or anything physical with my body, I'm left-dominant. Kind of weird. One time in school, my art teacher thought I was dyslexic. Don't try to lump yourself in with us, Brittany. I read things backwards. Maybe that's why I want to reflect back and go backwards. Hebrew is a language I used to study, and I felt really cool. It felt really cool because it's all read right to left. Okay, I'm talking too much, and I get it. Nobody really cares either way. Here's my Maui dance to Rihanna's song, Man Down. All right, there she goes. Quick hands. They're jumping around. Lots of energy coming in. Coming in fast. Double cross. I swing my arms around. There we go. Hey, my defenses are up. There was some kind of arm action there, and then the spinning, and then walking away. There's my hands over my face, and there's my hair twirl, and there's my hula dance. There's my hair twirl again, and there's I don't even remember this one. Hair twirl again. They all blend in together. There's my heart. Look at my heart come out. It's coming out of my look at take that. Oh, here's my hair's up. I'm looking fierce. I'm fierce. I'm in Maui and I'm fierce. Look at my arms. Look, I got energy. I just drank a latte. Going down. Getting down, going down, going down. Coming back up. Where to go? Low hands. There, high hand. There we go. Up in front of my face. Pinchy, pinchy. Go back down. Yeah, I'm a tiger. I'm a fierce tiger. I'm coming to get you. Hands over my face again. And then, wait, flash. Where am I? There I am. And we ran crotch hands. Back down. Spread it out. And I'm singing. And my heart is here. Look at my heart. Heart's coming out. Heart's coming out. Photo shot. Double guns. And then single gun. Boom. I got him. Got him. He was coming at me. Boom. Got him. Oh, back there. And boom. I just shot myself in the leg. Boom. I shot you. I had a gun in my other hand. You guys didn't. Haha. Then up it again. Spin around. I think we're back to the beginning again. There was the cross. Anyway, so that's Britney Dance. So she posted another one I didn't get to. But I think she just reposted old ones. Okay. So it's been a variety of Will Smith posts here. And going on back to this right here. I want to start here. I've been waiting to do this. I thought the thing with Chris Rock was fake and another humiliation exercise for Will Smith, and there's been a bunch of them. Will Smith has had to eat more than any other celebrity. But most people have forgotten about the Chris Rock thing, right? Like the world is just full of stuff, and people are dying. Like literally just kids having heart attacks and stuff, and the world's World War III and all of it. And so that was a big story for a month or two, and then most people moved on and don't care about it, like most things. But Will Smith is trying to eke his way back onto social media, like I said before. These various videos. Here's one where he's doing this. Yeah, it's hard to look at. And so I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. He went to Ecuador for a bit, maybe did some ayahuasca, who knows. But he was in this film called Emancipation on Apple TV. Here's the trailer.
I heard it myself.
It sounds kind of like he's from Wakanda, right? Sounds like a Wakanda accent. Rebel flag.
Slaves are free.
Slaves are free. And so they're casting Will Smith as a slave. And there is no bigger sellout than Will Smith, right? In terms of, everything. And he's, got a light skin on top of it, so it's not a good casting, especially with what just went down with Chris Rock, right? This must have been in the works already. I'm sure it was before the Chris Rock thing. So Apple has no, recourse but to continue on with it, right? But, is there anybody who's less substantial to play a role like this, than Will Smith, right? In terms of his, he just played a genie, right? in Aladdin, right? In all of it.
We must get to Lincoln's army. 5 days through this swamp.
He's going through the swamp.
Follow the sound of Lincoln's cannons.
You gotta follow the sound of Lincoln's cannons. Lincoln's cannons sound different than everybody else's cannons.
My family is with me forever.
Will Smith. And so, let's see, there it is, maybe at the end.
I will look in triumph at my enemies.
It's just the worst guy at the worst time to play this role. And Apple TV, they're hyper woke over there, and there's that show, whatever it is, the Don't Tell Me, Don't Care, Don't Need to Know, but there's a guy who has a separate work life from a real life or whatever, Severance or whatever it's called. And other than that, they had some good nature shows like Little Small Creatures and Creatures of the Night. They had some like high def nature shows, but I can't think of anything good on Apple TV. It all has an agenda and things like this. And so, they're not doing great over there. And they signed Will Smith, probably paid him a lot of money. And, he's not right for this role. And especially now,
I'm trying to find the middle of all. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is not. Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Hold on.
And then you got bunny-eared by somebody here. Thank you for coming to the Emancipation. Hope you all enjoyed. There's Dave Chappelle. There is other famous people. Russell Westbrook, apparently. Apple TV Plus, Tyler Perry. And so this must be, is that Rihanna? Who's bunny earring him. I don't see Russell Westbrook, so it must be a different Westbrook. He gave a sneak peek of Emancipation to the Lakers and had a great convo about the film for their Genius series. Big thanks to everybody who came through. Next stop, my Sixers. So he's going around showing this to basketball teams. Right? They gave him a jersey number. And then he's back in the woods here.
Whoa, hey man, I love your outfit. What are you wearing?
Weather girls, it's raining men.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men.
For a guy who has been rumored by the Hollywood people that are around him as being a closeted gay person.
Thoroughly probed. Got in there and got to the real stuff. Alex probed me. Sex, like once you've had sex, you know, you walk different. It's in your back. Only a man knows what a man needs.
You ever made love to a man? No. You want to?
No, sir. Definitely don't look nerdy. You got some sexy vibes going. It's not nerdy. And from that point, I never put profanity in my rap music.
Oh, what a lovely story. That is sweet.
So this is what they found.
This guy's saying this is what they found in his colon.
He's like the Martin Scorsese of my ass.
Then this happens.
You can get dressed. I'm going to step on the other side of the curtain. Just let me know when you're done, okay?
Ben, can you get me dressed?
Basically like a regular Wednesday.
Can you help me with these, Ben? I'm gonna ask Jazz, but he has to use the camera.
Yeah, my hands are so full.
What's up, girl? Where's Ben? He's supposed to be my protector.
It worries me because you just got out of the toilet. I didn't hear the faucet on.
Subconsciously, of course. I mean, I'm like, I want to look good for the doctor to put a camera up my ass. Don't say anus. So you let some man put something up my anus while I was asleep. So basically.
All right, so one of my viewers, let's go back a little bit here. So one of my viewers on Facebook sent me this.
Behind you.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Okay.
It's like good
I
production.
see. And then we've got, there's some words up there.
Yes.
Okay, you all set?
Hey,
Oh.
So Will just grabbed this Graham Norton, is that his name? Graham something. And he has I think he's Irish or Scottish or something. He's got a celebrity talk show in the UK. In fact, I think in this very same episode, there is something else. I'm going to play the compilation later. And that comes from this show. You'll see that in the compilation. But, Will Smith, let's go back here. So,
He is in behind you.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Okay.
So this guy reaches down to bend over, and Will is eyeing his buttocks, and he decides, well,
It's like good
I
production.
see. And then we've got, there's some words up there.
Yes.
Okay, you all set?
I'm going to do that. He decides to do that back there, big giant cursor nose, colossal cursor.
Oh.
And then they have a good laugh. And so when I first posted this, I didn't watch the end of it. But then Helen Mirren gets in on the act. And she stands in front of him, and Will Smith puts his hands up in the air, right? Puts up his hand. Because he wants no part of that. Graham, whatever his name is. Norton, is that it? But Helen Mirren, he's not into it all, right? What's he doing there, right? I mean, the whole family, his daughter here, who's a rocker, and now he's a rocker, and, she's polyamorous or whatever it is. The rumors about him and his wife, all of it. And so Will Smith, like he's like got Alec Baldwin levels and Hilaria Baldwin levels of cluelessness Instagram post. Like how not to manage your return to social media.
Just raining men. Just raining men. Just raining men.
So going with what I said in the beginning, everything's jumping the shark, right? And what I said in the beginning about like people losing their faith in America, just, this guy was always non-presidential. He was a dope. He was a liar. He was a plagiarist. He was a buffoon. He was he was fit to be vice president. Vice presidents often don't become president. They become, they're like they're Robins, right? And he wasn't a Batman. He was a Robin. He was good as a vice president because he was a buffoon to, Obama's being inspirational, right? For people who are Democrats, right? Obama was inspirational. Obama was a star. Obama was Johnny Carson. And Joe Biden was Ed McMahon. And that's what he's qualified for. Remember, they were saying he's decent. Joe's decent, right? And so they needed somebody who was completely controlled by the beast to replace Trump because he's just like Trump. They have the same personality configuration. They're very similar in age. The issues that they have, they share the same issues. They're pretty much the same. And even though, people look at them as being so different, they're very similar. But Trump is a better version, right? Trump is not as much of a screw up as JoJo Magoo. And JoJo Magoo is just, deplorable in ways that Trump is funny. But, very similar. And so they stuck this guy in there. And like now they've boxed themselves in a corner of bad candidates to replace him. He's obviously way too old to be doing this job. And this is a prime example.
No change in the quality of it, just changing the price. And they talk about inflation. We're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing. The war in Ukraine. And thinking of Iraq because that's where my son died. Because he died. But the point again.
Okay, so
no change.
So he's lost here, right? And I'll go through and do an interpretation of JoJo Magoo and critique of this thing. So,
no change in the quality of it, just changing the price. And they talk about inflation. We're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now.
Okay, so think about that statement. Inflation is a worldwide problem. So in a good economy, a good global economy, inflation would only hit certain countries, not all the countries. You understand this? Because the inflation would mean that your dollar is not worth as much against other currencies. So global inflation, he's making it sound like that's a good thing. And it's a horrible thing, right? And so your currency, our currency, any currency, is pegged against other currencies. All currencies are pegged against the dollar, right? And so when the dollar loses value, then all these other currencies will either gain on the dollar or they won't, right? If America was the only country with inflation, with severe inflation, then all the other countries' currencies would be worth more pegged against the dollar as compared to the dollar. And so that would be a good thing for the global economy. And even for America, because it would mean that whatever screw-ups had happened, you could remedy the situation. And so what you want is only some countries to have inflation. And inflation would mean your buying power, your currency would be devalued. But if all the currencies are being devalued, well, what does that mean? Because what are you pegging it against, right? Gold, oil, commodities, right? It means that there's so much debt, global debt, that your currencies are being devalued against hard assets, which means the global economy is collapsing because the debt is out of control. And so what he just said there, he's just so dopey, he doesn't even know what he said, that global inflation, right? I mean, inflation is just the buying power of your currency. If there's global inflation, that means the collective currencies around the world have been devalued And against what? Well, it means that there's too much debt. And so the currencies themselves are worth less. It means the debt-based system is out of control, and they can't fudge the numbers anymore. And also they're going to try to shift and do things based in that. And so it's not a good thing.
Because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing.
So then he says war in Iraq, which is where this all started, because the economy collapsed in 2001, and they had to bring in a bunch of wars to keep it afloat. I mean, that's what happened then. Like, the economy was going to tank then. And then it tanked in 2008, and they did some, they fudged the numbers, and they got the economy running again. But it was too much debt then. And then the economy collapsed again in 2019, so they rolled out COVID and these other things. I mean, that's how it always is. And now they're using this war in Russia, right? Because he realized when he said Russia, that was a Russian war, as an excuse for everything, a catch-all.
The war in Ukraine, and think of Iraq because that's where my son died.
His son did not die in Iraq. His son did not die in Iraq, which people know. And he realizes he made this gaffe recently. So he tries to fumble his way through and say,
because he died.
Because he died. And what he means there is because he got a brain tumor for something that he inhaled or something that, happened over there in Iraq. He died because of his Iraqi war, which he was the good son, right? He was the one that was competent, the guy who had a political future, carry on the Biden name, not the crackhead one, the other one. But he went to the war. He was, he had jobs that was gonna end up with him possibly being president. Like, he was, a generational Biden family, but he went to Iraq, and there was something that happened there that caused him to get a brain tumor and die, right? A lot of things are happening here that are causing people to die suddenly young as well. But he's just so pathetic, right? This is the pathetic old man walking around on stage being clueless, getting things wrong. And he walks around like he's in a daze and a dream. Look, I'll turn the volume down. I'll just go over, He's just...
Yeah, but the point again, no change in the quality of it.
No change in the
just
price.
changing the price.
Just changing the price.
And they talk about inflation. We're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now. Because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing. The war in Ukraine. And think of Iraq because that's where my son died. But the point again, no change in the quality.
He's just gone. Like, the guy's gone. He's just, he's mentally gone. And he was never good. Like, he wasn't good beforehand. And now, the world's collapsing, and this is the guy at the helm. Just even the way he holds his mic, the Crypt Keeper do. He's going to be 82 with his next term. He's not going to make it. He'll be the oldest president, and he wasn't mentally competent in 2019. They ran him anyway. And now this is, it's about bringing down the country. And it isn't his fault, because Trump would have faced the same thing. The economy's collapsed. There's nothing anybody can do about it. It's just who, gets in charge of looting the rest of the wealth. And they're looting. They're looting what's left of the global wealth. They're glomming it for themselves, and they're setting up a scenario where they have even more and you have even less going into the next phase. CNN employee morale at an all-time low under Chris Licht, report says. CNN newsroom is in the midst of morale crisis as top boss Chris Licht leads a cost-cutting overhaul at the network, according to a report. Some employees have complained about a crisis of communication at CNN under Licht's leadership, with workers learning of major changes and announcements with little or no notice from upper management before they surface in the press. The latest instances involve longtime CNN journalist Jim Skakudu, who is expected to return to the air after going on a personal leave following a mysterious incident in Amsterdam. CNN employees are reportedly pissed that Skakudu is regaining his on-air position even as the network braces for a round of layoffs. Morale is at an all-time low, sources told the Daily Beast. It's worse than it ever was. I think this guy was. I can actually, let's just, so Chris Licht is, Christopher Andrew Licht is American television newsman and producer. Since May of 2022, he was chairman of CEO of CNN. He is best known as the showrunner and executive producer of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Now, Stephen Colbert sucks. I mean, his show sucks. And he's getting whatever ratings he's getting to keep him going based in here they are together, here they are here, here they are here. And so he ran this Stephen Colbert show, which has nothing to do with news, like Stephen Colbert was a fake newsman. And they produced a really unfunny, unlikable person. And they have Emmys here. And so how does that qualify this guy to dismantle CNN? Because CNN, and they don't want to admit it, is collapsing, right? It's something where, the news media, this is a dead medium. It says here, Skukudu faced internal investigation at CNN after he purportedly suffered a serious fall during a stop in Amsterdam. The incident occurred after Skukudu and an unnamed producer stopped in Amsterdam on their way home from a reporting trip to cover the Ukraine war, though other colleagues who made the trip took direct flights home from Poland. So he got involved in some sort of, Amsterdam party. It's a famous party town, right? And so there's Skukudu. And, at CNN, they've just been hemorrhaging money, and everyone there has just gone along with it because, they thought it was, we're CNN. But CNN is done. MSNBC is done, and Fox News is done. They have a dying audience, and when that audience dies out, this type of news media format, some dude in a suit, an untrustworthy dude in a suit, a compromised dude in a suit, or a woman in a pantsuit is telling you what the facts are. People are not into that, right? And it's over. They've lost. It's, it can't go on. The only redeeming quality is it's easy to mock and make fun of. I mean, that's what makes it good. But, they're done. And so they have this guy from Stephen Colbert show that's in charge of, it's the same thing that JoJo Magoo is doing, of looting what's left, right? And because at some point soon, CNN will have to completely revamp its content, will be unrecognizable, or it's going to have to, it'll just go off the air altogether. And at that point, it'll probably be better for them to go off the air completely and then just reinvent themselves with a new brand. It's going to have to go to online, and they failed drastically on that. CNN Plus was a $300 million disaster or something, right? It only lasted a month. And so now they're going to budget cuts, and then they just peel away all of it. And they're just, the news media on cable TV is done. And CNN will be something that your parents or grandparents used to watch, or your great-grandparents. It won't be something that, anybody with any sort of useful relevance will be into. So they're going to have to destroy their brand that they've made synonymous with news. And it's for all these news media. It's done. Even Bill O'Reilly admitted it was over, like this whole model. And so it's all going to be on the internet, and it's going to be different formats. And, it'll be whatever the young people are, attracted to, or what they'll go do for news. But one thing that the younger generation is, I think, getting better at than previous generations is authenticity and the fakeness behind the news media and the way they just come out and their suits and their ties, and there's just a fake air, and they're completely different. I'm going to show you a Lawrence O'Donnell thing tomorrow. I'm going to go heavy into this. I've already started to gather information on this Julia Powell It's brutal. A lot of her tweets and things. That's going to be an epic. Hollywood celebrities dropping like flies, but also Lawrence O'Donnell had a meltdown. Somebody sent me that. So I already have like a bunch of stuff lined up for tomorrow. And, CNN collapsing is, it's almost like it has to be a total collapse. And the corporation can turn it into something else, right? But you can't shill for the beast and be authentic because, people, you can't just come out and say I'm shilling for the beast. So there's a level of deception. And so you're going to have to cover up the truth, and the truth can't get out because if the truth gets out, the system collapses. I've said this before. Everybody in the truth community is eager to convince everyone else that the system sucks. It's insolvent. As soon as that happens, the system collapses. It survives on a faulty perception, delusion. And so you can't convince everybody if you want the system to keep on going. And even though the system sucks and it's evil, as soon as it collapses, it's like a whole other level of, a whole crap fest. But anyways, let's move on here. Pentagon concerned about indications of imminent attack by Iran. It says here, the Pentagon Tuesday expressed concerns about a new threat Iran poses against American forces and their partners in the Middle East following reports that the Saudi intelligence has warned of an impending attack. So yeah, there's that. If that's true or not, who knows? Adele reveals the correct way to pronounce her name. I was going to put this under my thing for tomorrow, but I wanted to see what it was.
Hi Adele, I'm Annie and I'm from London. And my question is,
Why are you drinking? Are you an alcoholic? Are you an alcoholic, Annie?
on your journey to self-love while writing 30, did your perspective on how you saw yourself when you wrote 25 change at all, and how? Cheers babes, love ya.
Where's she from? Enfield or something? Love that. She said my name perfectly.
Yeah.
He came and asked me how I say my name, and I was like, Adele.
How was
and she was
mine?
like, hi, Adele.
They do it. Adele?
Adele.
Adele.
Okay, I didn't notice the difference.
Hi Adele, I'm Annie.
Adele. Hey, Adele. Hey, Adele. Hey, Adele. How you doing today, Adele?
Annie and I'm from London. And my question is, on your journey to self-love while writing 30,
I'm only getting about, 2/3 of what this person's saying.
did your perspective on how you saw yourself when you wrote 25 change at all, and how? Cheers babes, love ya.
Where's she from? Enfield or something? Love that. She said my name perfectly.
Yeah.
He came and asked me how I say my name, and I was like, Adele.
How was
and she was
mine?
like, hi, Adele.
They do
Adele. Thanks. Thanks, Adele. Thanks, Adele. My wife and I have been saying thanks. Like Adele says, thanks with an F. So that happened. It says here in the corner, I drink wine, Adele.com. So there's some sort of alcoholic content, component to this this Zoom thing. Shakira sparks outrage for allegedly cutting line at Halloween attraction. No way. Whatever. She wants, apparently. Shakira has reportedly angered parents after she allegedly skipped a 30-minute long queue for a Halloween attraction with her kids. Several Spanish news sources claimed over the weekend that Hips Don't Lie singer cut the front of the line at a Tower of Terror ride in Barcelona while other families waited for an hour. Well, she's famous, though, right? You guys didn't get the part that she's famous? So, they're very upset at Shakira, but not Adele. North Korea launches 23 missiles as Kim Jong-un climbs the escalation ladder. One of the missiles landed south of the sea border between the two countries for the first time since the Korean peninsula was divided in 1948. I'm not a Trump person, and I think Trump's a clown, and the way he went out was embarrassing, and, he's just kind of, the whole thing's kind of over. But and again, the thing was going to collapse either way because we have a false economy and eventually it's going to catch up to us, and it has. It caught us 20 years ago, even before that. Too much debt. But they've kept it going, and now there's no other options. I mean, there was never any other options after about 1940 or 50 when they went to a global debt-based economy. This was going to happen. And all the other things that go along with it. The immorality, those are more important. The way people are. People suck right now. And so, with all of that stuff, there was going to be a collapse. And we have it. That was going to happen. But under Trump, if Trump was president, there would be no Ukraine war because he and Putin were tight. There wouldn't be any issues. That thing wouldn't be happening. Of course, they need it to happen to cover up for, the war is to bring in inflation and other things. But that wouldn't have happened. This is why they got rid of Trump. Of course, there was, the North Korea, he was, meeting with the guy from North Korea. And so there was no wars under Trump. There was none of this stuff. And now, there's JoJo Magoo. But Trump would have had to do this or the economy would have collapsed under him, right? And it would have been, all right, the economy collapsed, which would create global panic, right? If they just let the economy collapse and were honest with us, that's the thing. Like, no one likes to be lied to, but their dishonesty is, what's keeping the thing afloat. And that's the problem. If we heard the truth, if people heard the truth, they would panic. There would be a run on banks. It would be the end, right? It would be chaos. And so I'm not condoning their lying, but without their lying, everything would be much worse than it is. The thing about it is it's denial, because the majority of people believe that the system can be saved. And even though I say it here all the time that it can't, I don't want everyone to believe that, because if everyone believed what I believed, then the system would collapse. There would be no faith in the system. And so most people will rearrange something and find some way to gain some hopium to believe that the system can be saved, and there's some way that it can be saved, even if they can't articulate it or envision it. They just believe it, that the system is separate from the dysfunction and the evil. At some point, it can be corrected. It's easy to see it with, say, the Democrats, for all of you, because most of the people here can see it with the Democrats, but they can't see it with themselves. Like with the Democrats, since JoJo Magoo's been president, COVID ended up being a complete bust, and a lot of stuff that they said ended up not coming true. It was a swing and a miss, a fail. And the way it left the country, nobody thought it was great. JoJo Magoo is wandering around, like in this video here I showed you today, but in all these videos, if you saw this guy and you didn't know what he was, you would never go, oh, that guy should be president, right? You'd say it as a sarcastic joke. Nobody would say that. If he was a right-wing person, the left would be saying the exact same things about JoJo Magoo. He's mentally incompetent. They said that about Trump. Trump was going senile. Trump was losing it. And then they look at JoJo Magoo and he's so much worse, and they're like, no, he's great. He's fine. And so now they are thinking, well, we could run somebody else, and they're kind of coming to terms with it, but they don't see it as bad as it really is, that he was mentally incompetent the whole time he was running for president, and he sucked before that. He wasn't great before that. But they can't see it, right? And since he's been president, there's been the COVID debacle, there's his performance, there's the economy, there's the war with Russia, and now Iran and North Korea are all of a sudden enemies again and doing things, and what's going on? It's just one thing after another. Fuel prices have seen record highs, just across the board. Businesses are closing, people are flipped out, people are dropping like flies, dying from my other channel. There's so many ways that it's so obvious that the system's imploded, but they just can't see it. In the same way they can't see it, the majority of other people can't see it either. And I don't mind it if they don't, because, again, this is a system that's only afloat because of our perception and our participation. If there was a panic, a run on the banks or anything like that, it would expedite the collapse of the system. You know what it's like is when, I've been through this personally in my, my first marriage and family. And we were living in a state where we were just waiting for the straw that broke the camel's back, right? When you live in a sort of a completely dysfunctional, insolvent, and unsustainable way, and you're just, you're dodging disasters left and right. Like you're just this close to falling off the cliff. And that didn't happen for years, but it was just like a Damocles sword hanging over my head, the family's head, or whatever it is. And, you know, I mean, I've known people, other people that go through this, you know, people who are acting in a self-sabotaging way, and they're, you know, they're out of control, they're acting unsafe, and they're almost looking to, like, you know, I mean, it's self-destructive ways that they're behaving and things. And so you see it with corporations or whatever, and they just, you know, they're able to keep afloat and, you know, find ways to survive. But I mean, people's bodies break down like that, and a car can be like that, where, you know, you get one thing fixed and another thing breaks, and you just, you know, you're just waiting for the thing that puts you beyond being able to save the situation, right? It's just you're completely assed out, right? You're bankrupt. And this is how the country is. There's no margin. I mean, we're just pushed up against it. And any one crisis can send us over the cliff, especially how low functioning people are and how hateful they are towards other people. And so that's where we are. And most people can at least kind of sense that, you know, one knockout blow can come, just that one last straw that breaks the camel's back. It's only one little straw, but the accumulation of screw-ups and entitlements and, you know, immorality and disconnection from God, and, you know, when you go against all the natural forces, the forces that control the universe, the divine forces, eventually things mount up, the lies mount up, and the, you know, all of it, right? Your bank of pain that you've been pushing away. Something from Sahaj Marg, Master Charji, the third master, talked about how everybody in the West is pushing their bank of pain away by taking painkillers, or, you know, metaphorically even, not just the medicines, and they're not getting that dose of pain, because you're supposed to get pain in little doses. And so if you don't get the pain for your, let's say you overindulge and you drink, and you find a way to get a hangover pill, you're supposed to experience the pain of the hangover. So if you don't experience it, that goes in your bank of pain. And when you push the pain away, you push the problems away, they all just, you know, they're like a snowball on the top of a mountain. And by the time it hits you, it's just way too much. You get this big dose of pain and consequences all at once, things that you've been avoiding. And that's what's happening here for all of us, right? And the land of the free and the home of the brave. But there was one epic comment I want to get to here. Let me see if this is... person writes, I didn't realize that you run your channel like a dictator. I see you in a whole new light, and it isn't very pleasant. This is going to be great. So one guy posted afterwards, my regular viewers posted a smiley emoji with tears coming out of the emoji's eyes. Well, someone's getting banned, another person wrote. Once you've been here for a while, you completely understand. And there's prayer hands and the same emoji with the laughing and the tears. This was to Hilaria J. Baldwin, Witch, Corey J. Feldman, Island J. Boy, Yay J. Yay, and JoJo whatever. And in the beginning, I was talking about, you know, things where you get banned for, right? So this was an introduction. Maybe you guys will remember it, a video, maybe my last video on this channel. And my previous video on this channel, not my last, the previous one. And so I was saying that if you say something like, please, Paul, please don't ban me, that's a bannable offense, and I explained why. And then I talked about all these, you know, bannable offenses, right? And so because of that, me banning people, which is a big thing for some people in the truth community, because they feel like it's censorship. And I'll explain why it's not, but even if it was, I don't care. But the person's saying, I didn't realize that you run your channel like a dictator. And so, a dictator, huh? So let's go into that first. A dictator is in charge of a country and the rules that govern the people, and the people are forced collectively. They get taxed to support and to behave for that dictator, right? So the dictator is charging them money for their very existence. The dictator is enforcing rules and severely punishing people who don't obey, right? And so that's nothing like what's happening here. Banning people on your channel is not in any way dictatorial. But the person's comment is, I wouldn't call it dictatorial, right? It's definitely being a dick, but the person's comment, they have the arrogance to tell me how to run my business, tell me how to run my affairs, right? And that's one of the things that gets you banned. When you have, from limited knowledge base, you think you know and should, without me saying I want it. In fact, I've said over and over again, I don't want it. You're telling me how to manage my affairs. And this is how I run this YouTube channel. You're a guest on my channel. This is how I look at it, right? And because of this platform, I have the ability to silence you, right? At least silence your one account. And you can take multiple accounts. One person wrote the other day some nonsensical spewing of I don't know what. I would read it, but it was doesn't make any sense. And the person said, go ahead, ban me. I have multiple other accounts. Well, really? That's why you want to go through your life? Getting banned and just nobody's listening to you. What do you think? Everyone's reading your comment and saying, wow, this guy rocks it. You could have your own YouTube channel then. If people wanted to listen to what you have to say, right? You could be a social media person. What do you think? They're not giving you a fair chance? You just, that you have so much wonderful things to say and people want to listen to you. They just don't know why, right? But in terms of being a dictator and this persona, I have the opposite type of mentality. And I don't want to force myself on anybody. If somebody doesn't want to be here or doesn't want to be around me, I don't try to convince them how great I am, right? And this went back to my years of, dating women or whatever it is. If somebody didn't like me, wasn't into me, I didn't try to force it or manipulate it or work it or whatever it is. That's something, some men think it's a challenge. And I'm not saying it's bad or good. It is whatever it is. They think it's a challenge, right? That, oh, this girl doesn't like me, then I'm gonna win her over. And, some people are like that. They look at oh, this person doesn't like me, I'm going to try to win them over. I don't have that and never have had it. I don't care if, especially now, it's gotten even stronger in me. If people don't like me or don't understand what I say or don't like what I say, then they should leave, right? And, that's what I would do. I don't listen to things I don't like. I don't stick around some channel or some, social group just to troll people. If I'm not enjoying myself, I leave. And so, I'm not going to force myself on anybody. I'm not going to try to convince you that I'm so great that, you're missing out and all these things. And so that's the opposite of a dictator. A dictator is forcing your behavior. I don't want people to, put on a fake smile and tell me how great I am. I don't want people to lie to me. I don't want people to stick around and say, hey, this channel sucks, but I'm going to make this guy feel good because I feel sorry for him. I don't want your pity, right? This is not a pity party. This crazy guy keeps on talking about stuff on the internet, and let's just hang around and, make him feel good because he sucks so bad. Nobody wants that, right? So the way I look at this channel is I put out quality material that some people like, and it's for them, right? It's for me and for them. It's for me to do this job. I get compensated from YouTube ads, and they get whatever I provide for them. I'm providing a service of things that either information or energy or, whatever reason people listen to my channel, whatever reason that they look forward to hearing what I have to say. I'm providing a service. Now, without an audience, I'm just talking to myself. So, I need an audience. But, other than that, there's people that leave nice comments that are encouraging. People leave encouraging comments. That's a way of returning energy and letting me know that what I'm saying is resonating with them, which is a positive exchange. Other people will find links and make my job easier. They'll send me stories. They'll do things to contribute. Some people will, donate money. Some people will I mean, watch the videos and, the ads run. So there's ways that people have of helping me keep this channel going, either by providing help with my work, leaving, helpful links and things, and providing information, or some way that, help the channel to gain financially. People will share my videos on their YouTube, the actual video, not some copy, but the actual video on other platforms, or will tell people about my channel. So there's ways of people have of giving back. But this person, I don't recognize their name or anything. So this person's the one time I acknowledge their existence, I'm aware of their existence, they accuse me of being a dictator, and I don't have a dictatorial personality. Like, I don't like to administrate. I don't like to have, I'm not like to use force on people. I'm not any of those things. I don't run anything like a dictator. I make it clear that your useless comment, and I've listened to probably I've read 1 million comments. And so it takes energy away from me and wastes my time. And so if you leave anything that I consider a useless comment, I just assume you're going to leave more of them, right? If you leave a stupid comment, chances are of you leaving more of them in the future is pretty high, right? Almost 100%. And so if you leave a useless comment that takes away my time, has negative energy in it, has, whatever it is, right? Then I'm going to ban you. And it's right for me to do that because it helps me salvage some of my time. It helps me protect my time and my energy from things that I have no use for. Especially when I say, please don't leave comments like this, and you do it anyway. When you're aware of the rules and you force your way and do it, that's being dictatorial. You want to go on somebody else's thing, and you either want to wreck it for other people or the person themselves, even though you don't dig it, or you want to, take a little bite out of my energy levels, my self-esteem. You want to put doubt. You want me to doubt myself. Whatever reasons behind your, bitchy little comment is, like that's just a messed up thing. I don't do that. I don't leave hostile comments on other people's channels or whatever it is. I don't care. I don't want to argue with people. I don't, people are welcome to believe whatever they want to believe. Their beliefs don't bother me. And, I'll make videos about it. I'll mock people and tell them, I'm not telling it to them, though. I'm not doing it for their benefit. It's me and my, my viewers who have a similar sense of humor, and we laugh at the same things, and they enjoy me mocking other people. I didn't realize you run your channel like a dictator. I see you in a whole new light. Think about the arrogance behind the second statement. Like I said, I don't recognize this person's account at all. So I have no idea who this person is. And even if I did, I still don't really know them, right? Like most of you, I've met maybe, I don't know. There's some people who maybe watch my videos who I used to know or who I know and they don't comment. But in terms of the people who regularly comment and people who have longtime viewers, I met like 5 of them. Like maybe even less than that. I can think of 3 people. And one of the persons I don't think watches my videos anymore. Right? And so people come and go either way. So I don't really know any of you. Like not really know you. Like I've met people, right? And then there's people who leave comments and they tell me their stories. And, back when I used to have more time, I talked to people. I had conversations and things with people, right? Or whatever it was. Like, phone conversations or things like that. But even then, not really knowing anybody. But this person I don't know at all. And they have the arrogance. I got to find it again here. They have the arrogance to say, I see you in a whole new light. Like I give an F about how you see me. Have you not watched my channel? Like at what point did you think that I cared what light you saw me in? Like, why do you think I care? Because I don't, right? I literally have no response to that. Oh, I've disappointed you, random person I never met. Boy, I've disappointed you. Used to see me in one light, but then you found out I banned people in a way that you didn't like, and now you see me in a whole new light, and that whole new light is a bad light. What am I going to do? How can I please you, random F? How can I please you and make make you happy and see me? What can I do to make you see me in a whole new light, back in the old light? Not a whole new light, the old light. What can I do to make you see me in the old light? And it isn't very pleasant, right? Oh, did I displease you? Oh, great dictator. I mean, you're the one who's being dictatorial. Your arrogance that you think that I exist to please you, that my channel's here to please you. Your arrogance to think that this channel is about you, right? And me pleasing you. The whole world's here to please you, and it's your job to make sure people, hey, you guys, I see you in a whole new light, and it isn't very pleasant. You've displeased me. I don't feel like you're pleasing me at this point, so I thought I would say something because I know you care, because the world revolves around me, and, you know, anybody who displeases me is definitely going to want to know about it, because they're definitely going to want to do things to please me in the future, because I know you guys all are, you know, all these YouTube channels are here to please me. And so if they don't, I'm going to have to speak up and say, hey, you said something that displeases me, so please correct yourself, because, you know, I don't want to be displeased anymore. So I do a lot of shopping at Amazon because I don't like to go to stores. It saves me time and energy, and, you know, it's just better. You know, but Amazon is Amazon. And, you know, I also get stuff at Whole Foods. And I ordered 4 heirloom tomatoes. Our tomatoes are done because it's cold out. We grew a lot of tomatoes this year. But I ordered some tomatoes. And they sent me 3 very green tomatoes and 1 yellow tomato, and they're all as hard as a baseball. Weeks from being ripe. And if they are going to ripen, and they're not going to ripen and get sweeter because they've been picked too early, right? The reason they pick them so early is because that's why store tomatoes aren't very good, because it's hard to ship them when they're ripe. And so they have to pick them when they're hard, because it's, you know, there's a big giant pile of tomatoes. The ones on the bottom are going to be, you know, squished. And so, you know, that's why you find very few good tasting store-bought tomatoes. But these ones suck. And so I don't know if they'll ripen. And, you know, I mean, we pick them so early, and but no one should have sent tomatoes that unripe to my house, right? It should, no shopper, you know, they have these shoppers that pack your whatever. And so I wrote to Amazon, got a refund, and I, you know, explained the situation to them. And because I'm a customer, and because Amazon just, you know, whatever, they gave me the refund. They say whatever they're saying. But that's about the leverage that you have, right? I have with Amazon, right? You know, I can't say, hey, Amazon, that new Lord of the Rings piece of crap that you guys put out, which I, you know, haven't watched, just as an example, is horrible. You've displeased me, right? I see you in a whole new light, and it isn't very pleasant. I've been displeased. Do something about it. And Amazon would say, hey, you know, what can I do? Hey, Jeff Bezos is going to give me a call and say, you know, you just have to realize whatever kind of leverage you have in a relationship, whatever it might be. And with me, you have very little, right? You have very little leverage about the quality of product I put out here. Because the way I view it is I'm providing a service of knowledge and energy and, you know, whatever it is, interpretation, whatever you guys get out of this thing. And I believe that I put out a quality product. It's a quality service. And you either like it or you don't. And if you like it, then you should do your best to keep me happy that I continuously provide for you this service, right? You know, it's something like this clown, this person who's writing this comment is saying to me, it's like them going to a beehive and stealing honey, and the bees stinging them, and he's going stinging him, and he goes, "You've displeased me, bees. I'm not going to steal your honey anymore." Right? That's how I interpret your comments like this. You're taking something from me, and you're not grateful for it, so I don't want to give it. I do this out of, you know, it's a job. I make money. I get compensated. I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy this work, and so there's lots of benefits to it. I believe I'm doing God's work, and that's part of it. And I believe there's a duty I have, you know, to humanity to put out the information that I have, use my abilities, use the gifts that I have. And, you know, whether you take it or not, or whether it makes the world a better place, is up to you guys, and it's no concern. And that's why I don't get bitter when people are, you know, ungrateful. But if you're not grateful, I don't really want you here, and you shouldn't be here. Either either you realize you're getting something and you're grateful for it, or you don't. And so when you write to me, you've displeased me, sir. I'm not here to live up to your expectations. I don't I don't know what you expect from me, but you shouldn't expect anything, right? Other than me putting out these videos and doing the things the way I do them. And whatever I have to do to keep on going, including banning people that are going to waste my time and energy with their, things I'm not interested in hearing, is, part of it. And you don't like it, there's a door, and the door is your mouse and your browser, and you just simply don't click on my videos. Go somewhere else. You're totally welcome. I would prefer it, especially if you feel like I've disappointed you. Go feel that somewhere else, right? Go have someone else disappoint you, because I'm not interested in hearing about it at all. Like there's zero levels of me here wanting to hear about it. There's no audience feedback loop here. There's zero, and I work to improve what I do here, and I'm aware of everything. I mean, there is an audience feedback loop, but it's not something I'm using to generate the decisions I make on future content. I mean, when people send helpful links or leave, informative, points of view, but not in some way they're trying to argue with me or, whatever it is. I mean, there's things that people have helped, the audience has helped, at least, even from my, I can pick up on an etheric level the reaction people have to my video. I can feel the way people collectively and individually, to some extent, feel about my videos. Ideas, there's an energetic loop here. So I don't need comments like this, right? This is not going to help me. It isn't going to help you, and you're deluding yourself by first calling me a dictator when I don't have that type of personality. A dictator would, try to, I'm not a cult leader or a dictator or something like that wants to connect with people. I want to push people away, right? I want to distance myself from people. I'm not trying to enslave them and make them my servants and, rule over their lives or their existence. I don't want the responsibility to tell you what to do or how you live your life. I don't have that type of personality. So to call me a dictator means you don't understand what's going on here, right? And then to say this other thing about that, you see me in a whole new light and I've displeased you, you really don't understand. Like, you were wrong about the dictator thing, and then you were wrong that that you saying that there would be a sympathetic and caring ear on the other end. Oh, are you displeased? Oh, you see me in a whole new light. Are you displeased? Okay, Pumpkin, what can I do to please you, Pumpkin? Pumpkin. Oh, Pumpkin. Are you upset, Pumpkin? Come on, Pumpkin. What can I do? I've displeased you. Well, I'll try better next time, Pumpkin. I'll try harder. Because pleasing you is why I wake up in the morning. So I just want to make sure you're happy, Pumpkin. And I'll do please, let me get down my knees and beg for forgiveness because I've displeased you, right? Like, what do you expect to hear? Like, why would you think that would generate something that you would want to hear back, right? Like, you're a total misreading of me and the situation. My other viewers know. They saw immediately, oh, my God, why would you leave this comment? Like, only spirituality will save this world. Is Paul Romano definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.